Hey guys, welcome back. So today's video is going to be my full coverage foundation routine. This is just for the days that you're feeling like you want to have that extra bit of coverage and you want to look flawless and photoshopped but in real life. So that is what I'm going to show you. So I normally do this routine whenever I'm going to some sort of special event or I'm just going out for a long time and I want something that's going to last me all night long. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So the first thing that I like to do is go ahead and moisturize my skin. You want to make sure your skin is nice and smooth and ready to go. So before I'm applying my makeup, I like to go in with a cleanser and then go ahead and moisturize. Just use your favorite products for this. I'm actually out of my favorite moisturizer, so I've just been using this Garnier Skin Active Moisture Balm. And I also like to let that sit for about 5 to 10 minutes depending on how much time I have. So then once my skin is ready to go, I like to go in with a primer. So today I'm going to be using the YSL Blur Primer. You guys have seen this on my channel before. It's one of my favorites, especially one of my favorite high-end ones. And this is just going to create a smooth and matte surface, and it's really just going to blur out those imperfections and get my face ready to go for the foundation. Don't mind if I'm sounding a little scratchy. My throat hurts really bad. And then to focus more on the pores on the center of the face, I'm going in with the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer, and this is for smoothing and pore perfecting. So this one is pretty new to me. I haven't used it very often, but I like it so far. So I like to go in just one finger at a time with the tiniest amount because a little bit of this goes a very long way on the face. So I'm just going in with one finger and really focusing on pushing the product in to my skin so that it fills those pores and gets them nice and blurred out. And whatever's left, I'll just carry onto my forehead. So then once my face is nice and primed, I'm gonna go in with two of my favorite foundations. These are super full coverage and they last all day long. So I guess my secret to getting your foundation to avoid looking cakey and not look like it's sitting on top of your skin, especially when it's a thicker formula, just take some sort of glass plate. So what I do is just take a cup, any cup will work, and just flip it and use this side to mix my foundations on there, especially if I'm using two different ones. So then I like to go in with my foundation. Now today I'm going to be mixing two foundations together just because one is way too light and one is way too dark. So the foundation I'm going to be using is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation and the Fiona Styles Luminous Finish Foundation. And either one of these foundations would be beautiful alone, but I'm just mixing the two just because I don't have my shade in either one of them. So I first just take my finger and blend them out. Make sure it's pretty close. That's not too bad. So I'm going to take my beauty blender. This is what I normally do, is just take my beauty blender and pounce it and kind of diffuse the color. If you can see what I'm doing is I'm picking it up and then like going around so that it's nice and even on the beauty blender. So now you don't just have a glob of product, it's evenly dispersed onto the sponge. That way it'll be evenly dispersed onto your face. So I just did half of my face and you can really see the difference in how nice and full coverage and even this looks. Next I like to take my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. You guys have seen this all over YouTube, all over Instagram, and believe me, it is that good. This concealer just really conceals your dark circles and it doesn't settle into the fine lines, which is my favorite part about it. It's very hard to find concealers for me that don't settle into my fine lines. So with this concealer, I like to take it up on my nose a little bit just to kind of, it helps with the contouring and it kind of slims your nose without you having to go in and actually contour. Once that's done, I like to go in with the Smashbox Studio Skin Concealer. This is not necessarily full coverage, but it does a really good job of highlighting underneath the eye, while the Tarte Shape Tape does a good job of concealing the dark circles and fine lines. This concealer just does a really good job of highlighting and creating that nice bright under eye that we all like. And I also like to take this one down the nose, and sometimes I'll put it on my chin, sometimes my forehead. And I just take my beauty blender again and start pouncing that in. And when you're doing the edges, you just want to focus on pouncing on top of the product, not moving it around as much, just because you don't want the concealer to end up all the way down here. You want to keep it nice and concentrated in that upside down triangle formation. And then I also like to take this on top of the lid just to kind of prime my eyelid and make it nice and even. So then to set my under eye, I of course go in with the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. You always want to set your under eye just because it'll really help the concealer from creasing. If you find that you have a problem with like your concealer settling into the fine lines, then you should really try a translucent powder or just taking your face powder under there. Trust me, it makes the biggest difference if you do this. Trust me. I just take it into the cap like this and just take my beauty blender, look up, and just start pouncing under there and really caking that product on there. We are going to brush this away later so it won't look as crazy it does right now. And then taking whatever's left in the cap and going down my nose, on my forehead, and around my mouth. So now that I've let the translucent powder sit there for a minute, I'm gonna go ahead and take my MAC Studio Fix powder, and I'm in the shade NC40. And I'm just taking a fluffy brush, tapping off the excess, and just taking the excess powder away with this. And what this is gonna do is it's just gonna help prevent flashback. Not that the translucent powder creates flashback, it's just that it's gonna really help and make the translucent powder settle into my skin a little bit better. And then I also just take whatever's left on the brush and go on top of my eyelids to set that concealer that we put there as well. So I'm gonna go do the rest of my face, and I'll be right back to kind of tell you guys my final thoughts. Alright guys, so this is the finished look. I just went ahead and did my bronzer, my blush. I don't have any highlight on because I'm about to film another video, so be on the lookout for that. And I did a super dramatic eyes just so that you guys can see the full coverage effect. So as you can see, the face looks nice and smooth and photoshopped, but it looks really, really nice and smooth in person. It doesn't look cakey at all, and this is just the routine that I've been enjoying lately. Whenever I want to get extra glam. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. But anyways, I will see you all in my next video. Bye.